Welcome back. Moments ago, this afternoon, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis proposed a trial date of March 4th, 2024, as former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants face racketeering charges for trying to interfere in the state's 2020 election. The proposed date is a little more than 2 months after Special Counsel Jack Smith wants Trump to stand trial for election interference, and it's less than 2 months after the Iowa caucuses. Keep in mind, this is just a request. It's not a guarantee, and nearly every legal analyst we've spoken to says it's going to take quite some time for a case this big to actually get to trial. And then once it gets to trial, it's going to take weeks, maybe months to seat a jury. Just ask the folks in Fulton County. All of this comes as Trump's former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, seeks to move his case to federal court. And he's arguing that a federal law gives him that right because the actions in question are tied to his time as a federal official while he was serving in the White House. His attorney says he also intends to file a motion to dismiss the indictment as soon as is feasible. Meadows' filing brings to light one of several challenges Fulton County DA Fani Willis will face as she brings RICO charges, typically used against gangs or mobs, against Trump and his allies. Those challenges include not only the nature of the charges filed, but also the logistics of potentially trying 19 defendants in one trial. For more to unpack this is somebody who's very familiar with the system in Fulton County, joined by Darryl Cohen. He has served as an assistant district attorney in Fulton County. Mr. Cohen, I appreciate this, and essentially you're here to teach us the Fulton County system here a little bit. So first let's talk about this federal law here. If you were Fani Willis, would you be nervous about this motion?
I would not at all be nervous because she's going to have this being motion number one out of many, many motions. They'll be so numerous, we'll not be able to count them. Do I expect more of this moving it to federal court, where if it does move to federal court, there's going to be a more liberal jury pool? I expect it, but I don't expect that it's going to move. And no, I would not be at all nervous. And by the way, call me Darryl, Chuck, if you don't
got
mind.
it. Well, Darryl, I will say this. On its face, Mark Meadows' attorney makes a pretty, and in fact, he's not an unindicted co-conspirator in the federal case, and there may be separate reasons for that, but there is a simultaneous federal case. Is there any way that the Jack Smith case and the Atlanta case interfere with each other?
I don't think they interfere with each other. I think there's a tremendous amount of crossover between the two cases. But if Jack Smith case is tried first, assuming it goes to trial, or if the Fulton County case is tried first, assuming it goes to trial, and there's a guilty verdict in either one of them, then there's going to be a scream and a hue and cry saying double jeopardy, double jeopardy. And by the way, did I say double jeopardy?
So what happens? And it's an interesting, look, all of the legal experts we've talked to, and you tell me why they're wrong, indicate that the Fulton County case is likely to get motioned all the way past November of 2024. Tell me why we would be wrong, why the experts are wrong about that prediction.
Oh, I think they're right.
Okay.
I think there's no chance that this case is going to be tried. If it's tried, I don't think there's any chance it's going to be tried before the election in 2024. Obviously, it could. And sometimes when it can't happen, it does, and it's never good. But I don't anticipate this happening. There are too many defendants, too many lawyers. We know we have at least 19 lawyers. And we know that there's going to be motion after motion. Each lawyer is going to be concerned with his or her client and the heck of the rest of the people. We don't care. We care about our client. And also, I think Fani's looking for some people to roll over,
of course,
and testify.
I think that seems to be where she's headed with some of this. And obviously, the unindicted co-conspirators are part of the Jack Smith plan, too, it sounds like, in a similar vein there. So it's funny you brought up the double jeopardy issue. The Jack Smith election interference case is likely to go to trial before the Atlanta case. If he gets a guilty verdict, could you see her dropping Trump from the charges?
I could see her perhaps dropping Trump, but I don't think she would do it willingly. I think that Trump's lawyers and all the other lawyers representing the co-defendants would file the appropriate motions before the Superior Court judge, who, by the way, is brand new. And this is not only a case of first impression for all of us, but certainly for him.
When it comes to trying this is a RICO case. I look at the case against Giuliani and the witness intimidation. You look at the case of breaking into Coffee County. Those seem ironclad. But if you put it all in the same case, do you risk not getting a conviction on those specific incidents or not?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to remember that RICO gives Fani, the DA's office, the opportunity to bring things to Fulton County that took place throughout the state of Georgia outside of Fulton County. So that's number one. But you also have to convince a jury of 12 men and women who are well-meaning but don't know the law that all of these crimes, if they were crimes, are part of an overall conspiracy, making it racketeering. Not easy, because you're going to have people, whether we like it or not, it's going to be very political. You're going to have Democrats who hate Trump. I don't care what the evidence is, he's guilty. You're going to have Republicans, probably one or two, no matter what the evidence is, he's not guilty. So Fani, the DA's office, has got a tremendous burden that they're going to have to overcome using RICO. And RICO's not easy, even if there's no politics, because some of these acts are not necessarily criminal.
Which gets me back to me, there's a simple, you could have simplified this, and I don't want to read into your tone, but it sounds to me like you think you might not have gone the RICO route.
You can read completely into my tone. I believe in the KISS method. Keep it short, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. And you have to realize these jurors, whoever they are, regardless of what their education or lack is, they're not going to be veterans of the criminal system. So my view is to look up to jurors, but simplify it, not dumb it down, but simplify.
So would you have done separate indictments? Because you could easily see, right? Donald Trump's on tape threatening Raffensperger with a criminal investigation if he remains president. You've got an actual, essentially, bank robbery, if you will, or the akin of, with voter fraud with the Coffee County. You've got the intimidation of Ruby Freeman. You have distinct incidents that seem pretty easy for the public to see. Would you have done it separately that way?
What I would have done is I would have taken every case, every crime that took place in Fulton County, and made it a separate indictment or a separate count. And the other charges that took place, for instance, in Coffee County, I would use that as a similar transaction, showing what took place rather than trying to have a tremendous RICO indictment.
Yeah.
I just like to simplify it in front of a jury. I don't think it helps to complicate it.
Well, the real winners are law school professors who have real life trials to talk about the differences between federal, state, prosecutors in a local jurisdiction. To me, that's the only upside here is law school students and law professors get real life anecdotes to teach their students. Darryl Cohen, really appreciate you giving us a little hint of how things work in Fulton County.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.